Me record as
Good
well.
girl, Lila.
Okay, I think we're good. Awesome.
Awesome.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am doing great. It's snowing today, so I am ready for winter adventures. The stoke is
Awesome.
high.
Awesome. I'm so excited that you're doing this and talking about skiing with your dog.
I know. It's the best. It's the best.
It is.
Um, in kind of writing and going over the PowerPoint and thinking about today, I couldn't help but remember our first lesson together when Lila was still a foster. You remember
Yes,
that? She
I
was so little.
do. Yes.
Um, I remember you mentioned something that really has stuck with me, and we were talking about your goals and these awesome dreams of going to summits with Lila and skiing with her and ski joring. And I remember you said something to the effect of, I have all these goals, but most of all, I want to be with her in the mountains. And that really stuck with me, that you were talking about these big dreams, but that most of all, you just want to spend time with her. And you said, I will alter my plans if she finds joy in them. And that stuck with me because you just mentioned if she finds joy in them. And that just, I think it's just an amazing perspective to come from. And so I kind of wanted to talk about, since thinking about that time, puppy Lila, when she was a baby, your expectations of winter adventures with her and the
Yeah.
reality of what they are now.
Yeah, I guess first and foremost, I just want to say how grateful I am for your support because
Oh, thank you.
knowing that I had this resource, because it's just, yeah, like I wasn't sure that a dog could fit into my lifestyle, and so
Mm-hmm.
fostering was a really good opportunity to have a test period. It's like test
Yeah.
driving what it would be like to be a dog owner. And
Yeah.
working with you, I realized that a lot of the things that I do, I would be able to do with her. But it also made me realize that there are certain training days that are better for me to just focus on my own goals and not bring her.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so for me, it's like when I go with her, like we're still, Lila's about a year and a half now. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like, we're still learning, doing things together. And so last winter, she was still a puppy. And I really wanted
Oh,
to just expose her to things without overtraining because I wanted
absolutely.
to make sure her joints and her bones and all those growth plates had a chance to
Mm-hmm.
develop before I pushed her too hard. So last year
Yeah.
was a bit more mellow, and I'm just excited for this year. She's full grown. And I'm excited for all the years to come too, because I think just every day that goes by, our way of communicating and knowing what each other is thinking is improving. And so I'm looking
Absolutely.
forward to like the next, hopefully, decade and a half together and
Yeah.
how it will just improve. But yeah, I think, you see a lot of people skiing with their dogs, but for me, the first year, it was really just about giving her like shorter exposures and
Mm-hmm.
not pushing past the fun.
Yeah. No, that's such a good point because our dogs will do anything for us. And if that means that they are being stressed outside and that it becomes an overwhelming experience, that's not something that we want to put our adventure partners through. We want
Yeah.
it to be fun and confident building for them.
Absolutely. And I think just kind of making sure, when I go into the mountains, whether it's with Lila or not, I have different expectations and intentions. And so it's like
Mm-hmm.
some days are big training days. And just making sure that with whoever else too we were going out with Lila, that we all had that
Yeah.
same expectation that if the snow condition changes or if something were to happen, that we would turn around right away.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of a little bit more on that about how you balance these big dreams and like you're going after the line, you want to go fast, you want the deep powder, you want all that fun. How you balance that with teaching Lila how to be around skis, going super slow and that it's not a big adrenaline day when
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
teaching her through the powder. Can you kind of talk a little bit about experiencing kind of the mountains through a beginner's eye again through
Yes,
Lila?
for me, it took me about a decade and a half of slowly building my
Mm-hmm.
skill set in like small, little progressive chunks. Not, you don't want to dive into the steepest line for your first time
Yeah.
backcountry skiing, or you
Yeah.
don't want to sign up for like a 50K for your first like long run. And so
Right.
like I understand that progression from my own training. And so with
Hmm.
Lila, again, it's like just biting off baby steps and like little chunks at a time so that we
Yeah,
don't pile on too much at once. And
absolutely.
I think also, yeah, being adaptable and paying close attention as well to snow conditions.
Yeah.
Because
Talk a little
snow,
bit more about that and how that affects your skiing with Lila.
yeah, if it's a really, really cold day, making sure she's bundled up, and
Hmm.
if she's like retracting her paws, like either having the booties or putting on
Yeah.
extra wax and maybe even stopping to reapply more wax before we head down. And on the downhill, it's really important for me, like, not to stress her out and not to
Hmm.
have her like be bounding through the deep powder too much.
Yeah.
So I ski really, really slowly when I'm with her to make sure that
Hmm.
she can be with me and that we're communicating well. Or sometimes like
I
we'll let
love
her
it.
go a little bit, or we'll kind of sandwich her in between us.
Hmm.
But if there's like Avi danger or if it's breakable crust, also having a tool to be able to pick her up and carry her through
Hmm.
parts to if we need to get out of harm's way quickly. Because like
Hmm.
yeah, dogs when you're especially when you're going downhill, like they don't have the same speed and agility that we do. They just
Right.
it's a lot more work for them. And something with my own skiing that's always been my dream is to ski until I'm 80 or 100 years old.
Hmm.
And with Lila, I wanted to pay attention to make sure that she wasn't overdoing it on her joints, especially not doing too much too soon, and especially on the downhill, because that can be a lot on their joints when they have to jump
Yeah.
up and out of the deep powder. So I want Lila to be able to enjoy mountain adventures with me until she's old and gray. And so just setting ourselves up for that kind of success. And so, stopping really every few turns, letting her catch up,
Hmm.
and bringing a lot of treats and snacks and
Yeah.
rewards. And then just treating her like I would treat myself as an athlete. Like when we get
I
home,
love it. Hmm.
making a nice, like, warm slurry to get her rehydrated, and just thinking
Hmm.
about nutrition as well, too. Because,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. And I love how when you go out with Lila, how there is a real focus on partnership where it's not that you're just bringing Lila on your adventure, is that you guys are adventuring together. This is our mountain day that
Yeah.
you let her learn, let her experience. And through that, is there one or a couple of tools that are in your guys' toolbox that you think have been the most helpful, or that you think that anybody that goes out with their dog should have this skill or know this, like your life lessons, I guess?
Yeah, like especially on our first when I go out in the mountains with Lila, whether it's skiing or running or hiking, I try to be this is something you talk about too. I try to be present and focused. And so
Mm-hmm.
instead of just like putting my earphones on and just running, like I try to be interested in her world as well. And when she's
Yeah.
like checking something out, I try to like be like, "Oh, that's cool." And when she comes back to check in with me, I try to
Mm-hmm.
always be super psyched. Like even if she's covered in mud or she just rolled in poop, it's like anytime she comes back to me to like instill that good recall in her, like I want her to know
Absolutely.
anytime she's coming in to check in with me to say like, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
what's up, mom?" that she is rewarded and it's
I
like,
love it.
"Yay, cop!" Like, because the recall is really important for this kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
something I'm continuing, like, we're a year and a half in, I'm continuing to work on and reinforce. And I think for me, one of the just best, so yeah, recall, like always being stoked. I always have treats. Doing like games, and doing connect where she comes and boops her hand to my nose. I mean, that one is a little tougher with mittens on, or like if you
Yeah.
don't want her to come close to you.
Yeah.
That one is really good, but just for her always to associate, like if I'm gonna grab her, that's like a good thing. It's not something she needs to run
Hmm.
away from. Or if I need to quickly put her on a long leash, like I just
Yeah.
want her to know anytime she's coming to me that it's a positive thing. So there's just a lot of different ways. I think the other things that we're working on, like when you taught us how to target,
Hmm.
There's so many cool things we can do with that to teach her how to get out or to get in front or behind or on each
Yeah.
side. And so we're continuing to work on those skills as well.
Nice. Which
Um,
helps with the ski joring too.
yes, it will help with the ski joring too. I think just being like mindful and present. And what I was going to say is that I've done a lot of things on skis in the Wasatch. Like there's a lot of lines that I've skied, and
Hmm.
sometimes in my home mountain range, it's hard for me to feel like a new inspiration. But when I'm
Yeah.
going out with Lila, it is really motivating because it's like seeing the world and seeing these adventures through her eyes and showing her this world that I've discovered. It gives me new motivation and new inspiration, and it makes the adventures so much better.
Oh, I love it. Amen to that. It's beautiful. Seeing the world through our dog's eyes is the best gift of all. It makes adventures 10 times better.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, and it's like I think just being able to modify timelines too to make sure that you've put
Hmm.
in the training, because like one of our summer goals is to run a marathon. And this
Hmm.
summer, I was like sort of hoping we'd get there, but between the heat and other things that we had, it was like not going to happen this year. And so being okay to
Yeah.
move that till next year. And I think with our ski joring goals, like eventually we'd like to do a 5K or a 10K
Yeah.
race, but it's going to take a lot of time and training and focus. And there's things we can do in the off season and a lot of exercises
Hmm.
we can do. But just like build for me, like building the neuromuscular adaptations for running or
Yeah.
skate skiing or these things, it takes a while. It takes, a year
Yeah.
sometimes. Or so just making sure that I give Lila and myself, like, we have enough time to really set us up for success. Like, it doesn't all need to happen right away. Like, you don't need to
Right.
go ski
Exactly.
the biggest lines right away.
Yeah. And like the journey is the best part, right? It's kind of a cliche, but
Yeah.
like this training, the connection and build it, training to that 5K ski
Yeah.
joring race will be an amazing adventure in and of itself. And that we don't need to be stuck to that timeline, that we honor our dog.
Yeah, 100%. And then yeah, I think if it is too cold or if the snow is breakable crust, like breakable crust in particular is a snow
Yeah.
condition that is really hard for dogs. And if
Hmm.
I'm seeing like that she has a cut or something from like they can get cut super easily from that. So just being
Yeah.
able to call it quits or have a plan B or like for me being able to carry her down, those are important. And then the other thing I would say is that your dog doesn't need to go with you on every adventure. And so
Great point.
having like it's I love this dog so much.
Hmm.
So when I'm not I don't really like to leave her home alone. so
Yeah. Yeah.
so when we are planning our bigger days that are like in places where we can't bring Lila, having a plan of either like taking her to our in-laws house where she can be
Hmm.
with her buddy Beckler, who's the golden retriever that my in-laws have,
Yeah.
and like, or if that's not available or we don't have the time to bring her there, having her go to daycare to fetch. We love
Hmm.
fetch, and so
Yeah.
just having plans so that the dog's not also in the kennel all day if you are out
Hmm.
skiing without them. I think that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I think just being proactive, knowing if you're going to be out all day, give your dog something that fulfills them in their own way.
For
Because
sure.
a
Yeah.
big day in the mountains might just not. So that's exactly right. Having a different plan for her, knowing
Yeah.
when to have her along, when to keep her home, and to get that balance all around.
Definitely. Yeah. So,
I love it. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for being such a great advocate for Lila, such a great adventure buddy. I'm so excited for the adventures you guys are going to go on. I'm
well,
stoked.
thank you so much. We're so grateful. I just can't tell you how fulfilling, how much it's enhanced being a dog owner or a dog
Hmm.
partner to be Lila's
Hmm.
mom. Like
Yeah.
having your guidance has really enhanced our relationship. And so,
Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you so
I
much.
don't know what I would have done. Like it's a whole team, right? It takes a
Yeah.
village.
It does.
She's my baby, and like it takes everybody. And so really having your support and the teamwork with you two has helped us immensely. So thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Yeah.
My pleasure. I've loved it. I've loved it all day.
Awesome. Well,
Thank you.
for those of you who will be skiing, stay safe and have fun, and we'll hopefully see you on the slopes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. And then we'll stop the recording.